Chapter 231, Chapter 231, Chapter 231, The Ancestor of Thousands of Divine Lightning. Translator, Dragonboat Translation Editor, Dragonboat Translation. The ability, Fate Orbit, has truly surprised me, Su Yang said with a smile as he glanced at the title of Lightning Ancestor. Lightning Ancestor. Obtained Law of Lightning's 100% condensation. Type, no superior title. Effect 1, reduce the suppression of heavenly punishment on you. In the face of heavenly punishment, you can trigger passive, law, title, and other effects. Effect 2, in the heaven realm, you are immune to all lightning attacks except for heavenly punishment. Effect 3, when your strength reaches a certain level, you can control the wrath of heaven. Hint, you are the true lightning ancestor in heaven. No one in heaven possesses a stronger Tao of lightning than you. Introduction, smash the darkness with lightning. So you're saying that in the face of heavenly punishment, my lethal immunity can be triggered. Does that mean the 3-second effect of the eternal law is also applicable? Su Yang recalled his first death under heavenly punishment, where he had been utterly defenseless. None of the rules or special skills had been effective against the wrath of the heavens, except for his resurrection ability. Even the mighty God Lord of the angel race had turned to ashes under its power. With this new ability, he would no longer be helpless in the face of heavenly punishment in the future. And once my strength reaches a certain level, I can unlock the third effect, Su Yang mused with anticipation. In that case, there shouldn't be any experts below the eternal realm who can match me. But what level of strength did he need to reach to unlock it? Su Yang speculated that it might be the level of a true god, a god king, or even a half-step eternal. It certainly wouldn't be something attainable by a god below the high-level god. I'll have the power to control tribulation lightning as I please. Besides heavenly punishment, no lightning can harm me, Su Yang declared. I will become the true lightning ancestor, the master of tribulation lightning. Thunder is undoubtedly one of the high-level great Tao, possessing tremendous power, Su Yang remarked, already envisioning his future where he controlled lightning in synergy with the great Tao of destruction. His attacks would be unstoppable, and those he killed would be beyond resurrection. Coupled with his command over the great Tao of space, he would have freedom of movement. In fact, unless facing a supreme transcendent expert, no one would be able to kill him. I wonder if my abilities will grow stronger as I condense more eternal characteristics, Su Yang pondered. He had witnessed in the future that, with the reinforcement of the half-step Eternal's eternal characteristic, he could not shatter space. His ability to foresee the future had enabled him to turn misfortune into fortune and avert future events. However, he yearned for even greater power. Even the Netherworld River's Netherworld monument, with its eternal characteristic, remained intact despite the river's flow. The trees and grass atop the highest mountain peak were indestructible due to the eternal characteristic. Since the eternal characteristic could merge with space and everything else, it could undoubtedly enhance his spatial ability and other capabilities. I'll test it out when I can condense the eternal characteristic to 10%, Su Yang resolved. If successful, it will significantly boost my combat prowess. Perhaps using the eternal characteristic is equivalent to battling against transcendence. As Su Yang thought of Kang Shan, who sat atop the highest mountain peak, a look of longing filled his eyes. Perhaps to beings as powerful as Kang Shan, 660,000 years was a mere moment. As the saying goes, a single thought is eternal. The meaning of time to them might simply be transitioning from one point in time to another. Their figures remain suspended within this time frame. Moreover, they have the ability to erase all traces of themselves from this period of time and detach themselves from it. The concept of time and space within the heaven realm holds no significance for them. Just like Su Yang searching for the fate of the Kang Shan and tracing the river of time and space, he finds no trace on the highest mountain peak, as if it had never appeared. It's time to go. The land of misfortune awaits. Su Yang refocused his thoughts and picked up the scroll of the land of misfortune. There used to exist the goddess of misfortune. However, due to being tainted by karma, she was ruthlessly killed, her divine power shattered, and the lore of misfortune scattered everywhere. Over hundreds of thousands of years, the ownerless lore of misfortune had grown to an unimaginable level. The land of misfortune was the birthplace of the spirit of misfortune, where even an undying god could not escape misfortune and would inevitably perish within the shortest possible time. Though an undying god had an endless lifespan, the burden of bad luck affected all their experiences. They might provoke even stronger opponents or prematurely trigger the calamity of nirvana through their own actions. Thus, no living creature had entered the land of misfortune for hundreds of thousands of years. Due to cutting off his own luck, that ruthless person was taken away by the calamity of annihilation in less than 1,000 years. After his soul was annihilated, only his immortal divine body remained. It could even be understood that this ruthless person and the goddess of misfortune met their demise together. After all, 1,000 years is but a fleeting moment for immortal gods. The goddess of misfortune simply departed a bit earlier than him. However, it's crucial to be fully prepared when venturing into the land of misfortune, Su Yang reminded himself. The condensation level of the lore of flame is precisely at 96%. If I can raise it to 100%, it will only cost 400 million gold coins. He examined the column of the law of flame. The law of flame was about to reach perfection, and with a small investment of gold coins, he could directly advance to the great Tao of flame. The law of flame, like the law of lightning, was one of the most powerful higher laws, possessing a restraining effect on all evil spirits and undead beings. Even though he had the favor of luck and was proficient in the law of luck, he still needed to be thoroughly prepared before entering the land of misfortune. After all, the goddess of misfortune was a half-step eternal powerhouse before her fall. Who knows what terrifying power that ruthless person and the goddess of misfortune left behind in this land of misfortune. It should be noted that when one reaches a certain level of power, some things will be engraved in the heaven realm. Even though their existence has vanished, traces of them will still remain in the heaven realm. Just like when Su Yang was in the tomb of the time dragon before. He wanted to devour the heart of the time dragon. Although the time dragon had already fallen, he could still unleash the breath of the time dragon from the past and cut off Su Yang's 3,000 years of lifespan. Moreover, in the past hundreds of thousands of years, any immortal deity who entered the land of misfortune had not met a good end. If anyone were to say that the goddess of misfortune left nothing inside, it would be hard to believe. Because some existences can influence the trajectory of the present from the past. And in this aspect, Su Yang was also capable. Chapter 232, Chapter 232, Chapter 232, Burning Flames, Flame Ancestor. Translator, Dragon Boat Translation Editor, Dragon Boat Translation. Your law of flames condensation has reached 100%. Your raging fire saber intent has been influenced by the law of flame. Your proficiency in the raging fire saber intent has greatly increased. Your title, Lord of Flames, has been promoted to Flame Ancestor. Acquired new ability, Burn Everything. Acquired new ability, Will of Fire. Your comprehension of the lore of flame has reached an unimaginable level. You have started to come into contact with the great Tao of flame, 0.01%. As Su Yang consumed the gold coins, the condensation of the law of flame reached perfection. Su Yang suddenly gained a deeper understanding of the knowledge and application of various laws of flame. He even had some understanding of the use of certain great Taos of flame. This feeling was like being enlightened, and he immediately experienced improvement. At this moment, Su Yang's entire body emitted the power of the law of flame, faintly carrying the power of the great Tao. His body radiated an extremely high temperature, and Su Yang's entire body turned red. I am the Flame Ancestor, Su Yang muttered to himself. He didn't know when, but two balls of flames appeared in his eyes. The temperature around the villa suddenly rose. With just a slight, careless release of power, even the nearby villas would turn to ashes. He controlled the sudden surge of power. He didn't want to destroy everything in the vicinity. Why is it suddenly so hot? It's indeed very strange. The center of this temperature seems to be coming from the villa where the heavenly sun is. Could something have happened? Impossible. The experts from the myriad worlds can't enter the blue planet at all now. Besides, who on the blue planet can threaten the helm of heavenly sun? Helm of the heavenly sun must have broken through again. A few people in camouflage uniforms hidden in the dark muttered, their eyes filled with envy. They lived near the villa area and were secretly responsible for protecting Su Yang's safety. At the same time, they played a security role to prevent outsiders from entering and disturbing Su Yang's peace. They enjoyed this job very much. Protecting a helmsman was a great honor for those in camouflage uniforms. Moreover, there was not only a helmsman living here, but also a deity. Simultaneously, there was a powerful, immortal god present. This was equivalent to the safest place on the blue planet. It was unknown who was protecting whom. Su Yang used his delusion breaker eyes to examine his new title, Flame Ancestor, obtained when the condensation of the law of flame reaches 100%. Type: No superior title. Effect 1: Immunity to all flames in the world. Effect 2: Control over all flames in heaven realm and the ability to create new types of flames. Effect 3: When your strength reaches a certain level, the ability to control the world-extinguishing calamity flame. Hint: You are the Flame Ancestor in heaven. No one in heaven has a stronger Tao of flame than you. Introduction: Blazing fire can even burn the void. I can control all the flames in the world, and I'm immune to all fire damage. Su Yang's eyes lit up. This title was similar to the Lightning Ancestors, and the abilities were similar. It seemed that from now on, as long as it was a flame in heaven realm, it wouldn't be able to harm him at all. Unless he encountered an eternal characteristic, relying solely on the law of intelligence wouldn't be of much use. In other words, other than the world-extinguishing catastrophe flame, which ranked first, with Su Yang's current strength, he could often match or even surpass the other divine flames on the rankings. I doubt even the Lord of Flame territory has this ability, Su Yang muttered. He recalled that during the ranking battle, the The geniuses from the flame territory were arrogant because they possessed the supreme divine flame in the top 10 of the ranking. Now that he thought about it, he felt like a country bumpkin who had just entered the city. Flames are difficult for you guys to obtain, but they're really easy for me to play with. Su Yang smiled. Since his subordinates could create flames at will, they should also be able to create geniuses at will. If the god lord of the flame territory knew that I possessed this ability, perhaps he would treat me as an honored guest. For Heaven Realm, whether it was strange lightning, divine fire, or something else, they were all things that could only be encountered by chance. The genius from the flame territory was born with the void divine flame and possessed the void divine flame physique and exceptional luck. The other method was to fuse with divine fire, lightning, or wind seeds to strengthen one's body. Regardless of whether it was innate power or power discovered later, they were all things that could only be encountered by chance. Su Yang now possessed this ability. He had reached the deepest understanding of the power of the law and directly touched the heavenly Tao. The only creatures qualified to touch the great Tao were those in the eternal realm. The eternal Kang Shan had once said that to ascend to the eternal realm, one had to condense the laws into a great Tao. Therefore, even the nomological laws of a half-step eternal were not at Su Yang's level. At the same time, Su Yang realized that he had to hasten his breakthrough to the eternal realm. Otherwise, there would be a significant problem with his divine body. After all, the power of the great Tao was controlled by an eternal expert. He now possessed it too. If it took too long, his divine body would surely be unable to withstand it, and his body would transform into the great Tao. At the same time, the Flame Master sitting on the golden throne seemed to have sensed something. His divine body moved. After who knows how many tens of thousands of years, there's actually someone who has touched the great Tao of divine fire. It seems that another eternal realm creature will soon appear in the heaven realm. I'm inferior to him in the Tao of fire. We have to find this person and befriend him. Only then can our flame fire world be further passed down. The Flame Master stared into the air as he spoke softly. In the endless void, he searched for the source of this great Tao aura. In his eyes, it was as if thousands of stars were shining, constantly deducing the origin of this power. Then, with a hint of respect, he furrowed his brow. Such a great existence is indeed beyond our reach. His destiny is shrouded by a supreme power. If we want to approach, we have to force open the barriers. Chapter 233, Chapter 233, Chapter 233, The Will of Fire, Ultimate Burning Flame. Translator, Dragonboat Translation Editor, Dragonboat Translation. The God Lord of the Flame Territory pondered for a moment before finally relaxing his furrowed brows. In the end, he gave up. The other party was too powerful, and it was uncertain if this power could be overcome. Moreover, the other party would definitely sense any attempts made against him. It wouldn't bode well if his actions displeased them. To such an existence, annihilating the flame territory would be as effortless as lifting a hand. Through the threads of fate, Su Yang sensed that a mighty being had just sensed him, but then gave up. Following the threads of fate, Su Yang quickly discovered that this spying was from the God Lord of the Flame Territory. The God Lord of the Flame Territory, sensing this supreme power of fate, raised his head and looked at supreme fate with a trace of fear in his heart. I didn't expect such an existence to detect my gaze so quickly. I hope my actions didn't upset him. To be able to locate me through the threads of fate, he must be an eternal. The God Lord of the Flame Territory was profusely sweating. The aura of supreme fate filled him with fear. Under the weight of such an aura, he didn't dare to even breathe audibly. Anyone below the utmost being level was nothing more than an ant, including half-step Eternals. Su Yang had found him through the threads of fate, a method that was undoubtedly supreme and eternal. It was a pity that Su Yang couldn't witness the situation in the Flame territory, otherwise he would find it quite amusing. The esteemed lord of a realm was trembling in fear to such an extent. Of course, one couldn't blame the god-lord of the Flame territory. After all, the shock of eternity was simply too immense. In addition to being able to create flames at will, the third effect also intrigued Su Yang. The world-extinguishing calamity flame, ranked first on the myriad realms list in the Heaven realm, was akin to the wrath of the heavens. It was so powerful that it disregarded all laws and special effects, directly causing destruction. Its might was comparable to wrath of the heavens, and not even a half-step Eternal could resist it. Su Yang narrowed his eyes. His trump cards were continuously increasing, his strength was growing step by step. Simultaneously, he felt anticipation towards other supreme laws. He wondered what kind of surprises it would bring once the condensation of these laws reached perfection, concepts like eternity, darkness, and more. Su Yang shifted his attention to another ability. Burn everything. Obtained when the condensation of the law of flame reaches 100%. Effect 1. Your flames can incinerate everything in the world. Effect 2. No matter how living beings come into contact with your flames, they will be unable to extinguish them. Even jumping into the supreme Netherworld river to fight will be futile. Effect 3. Increase the power of the flames by 300%. Hint, your flames consume everything. Even the horrors concealed within the void fear you. Introduction. The blaze at the end of the path signifies a new life. The ability to burn everything was undeniably potent. Using it would result in absolute destruction. Henceforth, all those who opposed him would likely be afraid of it. Even if this ability couldn't harm the other party directly, they wouldn't be able to extinguish it. Not even the water of the supreme Netherworld river could quell it. This realization surprised Su Yang. However, he sensed the immense power contained within his flames. This was likely due to his Flame Ancestor title. It granted him the ability to control flames and rendered him impervious to any flame-related harm. Otherwise, the ability to burn everything might have consumed him before he could even harm the other party. The Flame Ancestor can create flames, Su Yang mused. If I were to use the ability, burn everything on those flames I create, its power would undoubtedly increase significantly. Su Yang smiled faintly. He had possessed the ability to create flames previously, known as Return to Fire. However, there was a stark difference. His previous ability could only create ordinary flames, with some special abilities and effects. On the other hand, the Flame Ancestor could create genuine divine fires, each type possessing its own distinct qualities that could be engraved in the Heaven realm. Observing the spark in Su Yang's palm, Spirit displayed an intrigued expression. Having been a genius from the immortal spirit world, she had witnessed many extraordinary phenomena. However, this flame was unlike anything she had seen before. Even from a distance, she could sense its terrifying aura, realizing that she could easily be burned if she weren't cautious. This is a flame I created. I haven't even given it a name yet, Su Yang replied. You'd better keep your distance and avoid touching it. Once touched, it cannot be extinguished. Not even the water of the Netherworld river can help. Su Yang issued a warning before retracting the flame. "The water of the Netherworld river can't extinguish it," Spirit gasped, her delicate face filled with astonishment. It was the first time she had heard of a flame that couldn't be put out by the Netherworld river's water. Of course, she had no doubts about her master, Su Yang. After all, he was her master, and there was no reason for him to deceive her. Soon, her expression became complex. Her master's speed of improvement was simply astonishing. If he could already create a flame that even the Netherworld river's water couldn't extinguish, his strength must be formidable. Spirit blinked her beautiful eyes. She had witnessed Su Yang's growth from silver tier to his current level, step by step. He had gone from being an insignificant ant in the eyes of the great powers of the myriad worlds to an existence that posed a threat to them today. All this progress occurred in less than a year. There was no genius in the myriad worlds who could stand shoulder to shoulder with him. "I wonder how long it will take for Master to reach the eternal realm," Spirit muttered to herself. For hundreds of thousands of years, countless beings had yearned to transcend, but it remained an unattainable goal. However, in Spirit's eyes, her master could definitely achieve it. She now truly understood the intentions of the immortal Spirit Ancestor. She recalled how, before she left, he had instructed her to submit to the heavenly Sun and obtain a tremendous opportunity. Initially skeptical, she now recognized the farsightedness of the immortal Spirit Ancestor who had lived for countless years. Unaware of Spirit's thoughts, Su Yang turned his attention to another ability, the Will of Fire. Will of Fire, obtained when the condensation of the law of flame reaches 100%. Effect 1. You embody the will of fire and can ignite life to become the hottest flame in heaven. Effect 2. Transform into an ultimate burning flame. As long as you uphold the will of Tyre, you will live forever. Effect 3. In the name of fire, your consumption and recovery speed are increased by 100%. Hint: the will of fire is one of the most fundamental wills in heaven. Introduction: you are the ultimate burning flame. Chapter 234, Chapter 234, Chapter 234, The Land of Misfortune, A Desolate Scene. Translator, Dragonboat Translation Editor, Dragonboat Translation. Upon taking a closer look, Su Yang quickly grasped the utilization of the Will of Fire. This ability is primarily based on the Will of Fire, capable of igniting life and transforming into the fiercest flames in the world. The flames that burn life force come at the cost, and they are likely even more powerful than the world-extinguishing calamity flame. This will be a means to go all out and fight to the death. Su Yang sensed this ability, and once the mythical flame is activated, he can choose the degree to which it burns his life. Even a half-step eternal expert would be unable to withstand the scorching flames. It was a skill that could simultaneously bring death to both himself and his opponent. Under such circumstances, even if they possessed means of revival, it would likely be rendered useless. The Will of Fire is truly terrifying. Unless absolutely necessary, I must refrain from using this technique, Su Yang whispered in a low voice. With his current strength, there were very few beings in the 10,000 worlds of the heaven realm that could surpass him. As long as he remained cautious and relied on the great Tao of divination, he would not encounter any formidable enemies. And even if he did, it would be by his own choice. However, even as a mythical flame, as long as my will remains unextinguished, I shall not die. Su Yang examined the effects, his eyes revealing a hint of surprise. With this ability, his self-defense capabilities would be even stronger. even in dire situations. It could consume his vitality and deal a fatal blow to the enemy. However, the price would be steep. Unless absolutely necessary, Su Yang would not easily resort to it. Furthermore, it also possessed the advantageous ability to increase the recovery speed of all consumed items by 100%. The law of flame has reached 100% condensation, granting me impressive abilities. Su Yang slowly retrieved the scroll given to him by the Goddess of Luck, which led to the Land of Misfortune. Ever since the Misfortune Kingdom transformed into a land of misfortune hundreds of thousands of years ago, it had been sealed off. Other than the ancient gods who could sense the location of the intersection, ordinary gods would not be able to find the entrance leading to the Land of Misfortune. Su Yang unfurled the scroll, and a dark passage swiftly materialized in front of him. Before stepping inside, Su Yang felt an overwhelming aura of misfortune emanating from within. One could even faintly hear the sinister roars of the unfortunate creatures residing there. This kind of terrifying and enigmatic aura was only one level below that of the fallen god mystic realm. "Master, can I accompany you inside?" Spirit looked at the mystic realm yearningly. Last time, when she attempted to enter the fallen god mystic realm, Su Yang had rejected her. Whenever she thought about the unreachable back of Su Yang, she felt an urge to chase after him. She didn't want to reach a day when she no longer had the qualifications to be his maid. Sensing the horrifying aura emanating from the teleportation array, Spirit's expression turned despondent. This aura was too terrifying, like that of an ancient ferocious beast. As a favored daughter of the heavens, Spirit's eyes brimmed with a battle spirit. She refused to admit defeat and desired to catch up to her master. "This is the mystic realm left behind by the Goddess of Misfortune," Su Yang stated, glancing at Spirit before stepping into the portal. Watching Su Yang's departing figure, Spirit finally abandoned her idea of entering the mystic realm. Her heavenly son master had made it clear, and she understood that the underlying meaning was that her strength was insufficient. She had heard rumors about the Goddess of Misfortune in the immortal spirit world. The goddess was an ancient and powerful deity. Even in her fallen state, the Land of Misfortune she left behind instilled fear in countless gods. Spirit had heard the immortal Spirit Ancestor mention it before. The law of misfortune, as one of the higher-level laws, tempted numerous gods. Countless beings desired to use the law of misfortune to condense the body of a god. However, when they learned that the law could only be obtained in the entire heaven realm's Land of Misfortune, they gave up on the idea. For hundreds of thousands of years, no living creature had dared to set foot in the Land of Misfortune. On the contrary, every living being that ventured in met their demise within a short period of time, without exception. They were crushed by rocks, devoured by the calamity of nirvana, accidentally slain by experts. All living beings knew that these deaths were brought about by the law of misfortune. Under the influence of the law of misfortune, even an undying god could choke on water. Anything was possible. A bitter smile graced Spirit's face. She understood that she could not accompany her master inside. Even the immortal spirit ancestors wouldn't dare. The law of misfortune belonged to a semi-eternal being, and after hundreds of thousands of years of growth, who knew how terrifying it had become. "You have entered the mystic realm dungeon Land of Misfortune. You have obtained an opportunity to glimpse the law of misfortune. You are suffering from the negative effects of the misfortune law. You have received the curse of hatred from the Goddess of Misfortune before her death. Your luck attribute is continuously decreasing. Your luck's favor has taken effect. The negative effects of the law of misfortune are ineffective. Your God's body has been activated. The curse you have suffered is ineffective. The law of misfortune immediately launched an attack as Su Yang stepped foot into the land of misfortune, attempting to decrease his luck attribute. Once the luck attribute turned negative, misfortune would befall him. Fortunately, I possess the law of luck. Otherwise, I would have suffered a great setback the moment I entered. I suppose those undying gods dared to enter this place precisely because of this right. However, even after hundreds of thousands of years, the resentment left behind by the Goddess of Misfortune still lingers. Su Yang remained calm. His abilities were just enough to counter the curse and the law of misfortune in this place. While others feared being affected by bad luck, he did not. After hundreds of thousands of years of growth, the law of misfortune here has already reached the threshold of the great Tao. Su Yang gazed at the dense law of misfortune in the sky, which had even materialized. It was likely more powerful than the law of misfortune controlled by the living goddess of misfortune. Surveying his surroundings, Su Yang saw only ruins. Enormous structures were sliced in half by saber lights. Even the land itself was filled with gorges. From these cliffs, Su Yang keenly sensed the sharp saber intent left behind by a peerless, ruthless individual from hundreds of thousands of years ago. Traces of certain experts would not fade away even after such a long time. However, after hundreds of thousands of years, the surroundings had also become overgrown with vegetation. Yet the peculiar thing was that the sky was covered by the law of misfortune, not allowing a single ray of sunlight to penetrate. All the illumination in this world emanated from the floating clouds, creating a dim light. Chapter 235, Chapter 235, Chapter 235, Slaying the Spirit of Misfortune, Condensing the Law of Misfortune. Translator, Dragonboat Translation Editor, Dragonboat Translation. I never expected life to thrive in such an environment, but why are the leaves all yellow? Su Yang sighed in awe of the resilience of these plants. They could survive without sunlight, yet the withered yellow leaves on their branches struck him as peculiar. On the blue planet, plant leaves would wither once they turned yellow. But here, all the leaves were yellow, yet they still appeared vibrant. It was a truly peculiar sight. I never expected that every blade of grass and tree here contains the law of misfortune, and they are all formed by the law of misfortune. Su Yang murmured in astonishment as he touched the leaves, plucking one gently. To his surprise, the leaf disintegrated into nothingness and merged with the surrounding law of misfortune. Su Yang quickly understood that these were all life forms formed by the law of misfortune. In the heavenly realm, there are all kinds of life forms, each with its own uniqueness. When the laws reach a certain level of density, they can give birth to life forms, but such beings are extremely rare. Su Yang never expected to encounter such life forms in the land of misfortune. These beings, existing in this form, are naturally more powerful than other life forms. Once formed, they attain the realm of undying deities, possessing the incomparable power and indestructible divine bodies that last for eternity. However, there was one drawback. They were formed by a single law of intelligence. If it was a high-level law, their combat power would be formidable, but if it wasn't, their strength would be the lowest among the immortal gods. Danger! Sensing something ominous, Su Yang immediately distanced himself from the tree. Since it had transformed by the laws and developed consciousness, this tree was an immortal deity. Su Yang scanned his surroundings and noticed that the vegetation that was far away from him seemed to be approaching him. All of these plants were living beings. Gagaga. After hundreds of thousands of years, beings from the outside world have finally appeared. At this moment, every single plant in the surroundings transformed into spirits of misfortune. Even the clouds in the sky and the stones on the ground. Objects that seemed lifeless all revealed their own aura. The only unchanged feature was the terrain destroyed by the saber's aura, a testament to the great battle that had taken place here hundreds of thousands of years ago. The ravines, spanning thousands of feet, bore witness to the fierce conflict. "We know why you creatures from the outside world have come here," the spirits of misfortune sneered. "If you crave misfortune so much, why not merge with us?" Countless spirits of misfortune gathered, their numbers growing rapidly. Each one stood at the immortal god realm, ranging from demigods to gods and high-level gods. After hundreds of thousands of years, the lore of misfortune here has become incredibly dense. Su Yang sighed. Su Yang couldn't help but marvel at the fact that there were so many spirits of misfortune here, and it was closely related to the dense lore of misfortune in this place. The endless lore of misfortune was the life source that gave birth to the spirits of misfortune. If the lore of misfortune here were to become the great Tao of misfortune, it was likely that spirits of misfortune at the God-King realm would appear here. Since they are all at the realm of undying gods, why haven't they left for hundreds of thousands of years? Su Yang felt very puzzled. Leaving a world for undying gods was a breeze. But why hadn't they appeared in the heaven realm for so many years? Su Yang observed that the peerless, ruthless person from back then had left behind endless saber will, sealing off this world. As long as the spirits of misfortune wanted to break through this void and head to the myriad worlds, they would have to break through these terrifying saber wills. "You dare to be distracted while facing our heavy encirclement." A spirit of misfortune transformed into the power of law in a flash, carrying supreme power, and attacked Su Yang. Su Yang glanced at him. This spirit of misfortune was only at the lower god realm. Wearing the title of God Slayer, he was immune to the attacks of most divine creatures. Coupled with his own body of 10 gods, he didn't pay any attention to the attack of a mere lower god. The attack landed solidly on Su Yang's body, but his expression remained unchanged. Ahem. Fear filled the spirit of misfortune's eyes. Just as it tried to retreat, Su Yang slashed it with a swift slash. "You lack the strength to even put up a fight, yet you dare call yourself a god." Su Yang sneered at the endless spirits of misfortune surrounding him. "You have killed a spirit of misfortune. Acquired skill, misfortune corroding upgrade. You have condensed 0.01% of the law of misfortune. You have obtained a new ability, misfortune salvation. The eternal furnace devoured the spirit of misfortune. You have comprehended the laws of luck, misfortune, and foresight simultaneously. Your luck level has reached perfection. You have touched the essence of luck by 0.1%. Your misfortune level has reached perfection. You have grasped 0.1% of the law of misfortune. Your law of foresight has reached perfection. You have tapped into the great Tao of foresight by 0.01%. You are in contact with the laws of luck, misfortune, and foresight simultaneously. You have obtained a new ability, Chief Sovereign of Fate. Just as I expected, when the laws of luck, Misfortune, and Foresight converge, they evolve into the power of fate, Su Yang exclaimed. These three laws combined can be called the laws of fate, similar to the laws of space-time formed by time and space. The Tao of fate is unpredictable. Who can truly control the entire heaven realm? Su Yang's eyes gleamed with excitement. Fate was an unpredictable force, and only through it could one gain control. Even the immortal gods were subject to the supreme fate's arrangements unless they had transcended. With the power of fate, Su Yang could escape the control of the supreme fate. Although it didn't enhance his combat strength, the power of fate was mysterious and unpredictable, making it exceedingly valuable. Why does he look different? There's an additional layer of mist surrounding him. Who cares? Let's kill him quickly. We can utilize his body to travel to the myriad worlds of heaven. The spirits of misfortune noticed Su Yang's abnormality, but disregarded it, becoming even more excited. The stronger the creature, the more enthusiastic they were. A powerful body meant greater potential for development in the future. The overwhelming spirits of misfortune relentlessly attacked Su Yang, intent on invading his body, erasing his consciousness, and claiming his divine vessel as their own. Chapter 236, Chapter 236, Chapter 236, The Spirit of Misfortune, Illusionary Divine Butterflies Appear. Translator, Dragon Boat Translation Editor, Dragon Boat Translation. Su Yang unsheathed the heart-severing blade and swung it horizontally, unleashing a massive blade of light. Numerous spirits of misfortune were cleaved in half by Su Yang, instantly vanishing and merging with the surrounding laws. You have killed a spirit of misfortune. Obtained 100 divinity points. You have condensed 0.01% of the law of misfortune. The eternal furnace devoured the spirit of misfortune. You have obtained 0.01% of the eternal characteristic. You have killed a spirit of misfortune. Acquired skill, Misfortune Bloom Divine Rank. Obtained 100 divinity points. You have condensed 0.01% of the law of misfortune. The eternal furnace devoured the spirit of misfortune. You have obtained 0.01% of the eternal characteristic. Su Yang unleashed such terrifying destructive power with just a single strike. Even as lower gods, Su Yang could effortlessly slay dozens of lower gods with a single ordinary attack, without the need for any special skills. They were like mere children, utterly powerless in the face of Su Yang. However, the few dozen spirits of misfortune were inconsequential given the current situation. The countless horde of spirits of misfortune numbered at least in the millions, and it would be impossible to eliminate them all without exerting significant effort. But this was actually advantageous, as Su Yang could fully condense the law of misfortune in this realm. After all, if all 3,000 laws were to be employed, using wealth channeling technique, no bank would likely be able to withstand the strain. Furthermore, with each spirit of misfortune slain, Su Yang could acquire upwards of 10,000 gold coins, which greatly pleased him. Su Yang continued to wield his heart-severing blade, causing one spirit of misfortune after another to gradually dissipate. You have obtained a killing effect. You have obtained a killing effect. You have accumulated 1,000 layers of killing effect. As the spirits of misfortune continued to dissipate, Su Yang's killing effect kept accumulating, making each strike more powerful than the last. The endless slaughter skill was perfectly suited for group battles, as it grew stronger with each enemy slain. As for spirits of misfortune below Su Yang's level, he couldn't be bothered to lift his saber. Activating the death gaze alone was enough to bring down a large number of spirits of misfortune. You have obtained a killing effect. The rate at which lives were harvested was astonishingly fast. Su Yang's law of misfortune was gradually condensing, becoming stronger bit by bit. Apart from the death gaze, there was also the threat of death. Any spirit of misfortune that approached within a certain range would be enveloped by Su Yang's killing intent, swiftly losing its life. Devil, he's a true demon, even more terrifying than that guy who lived for hundreds of thousands of years. Moreover, many of our comrades mysteriously vanish as soon as they get close to him. Just one glance from him can claim the lives of many of our comrades. The vast army of spirits of misfortune trembled in fear of Su Yang. The millions of spirits of misfortune never expected to encounter such a terrifying enemy. A single glance and a single aura were enough to claim the lives of many of their comrades. This power instilled fear in them. Don't be afraid, everyone, we have the numbers. No matter how powerful a living being is, his divinity points and stamina will gradually be depleted during the battle. With our vast numbers, this creature will eventually fall. Once all the spirits of misfortune realized this, they could engage in a war of attrition. Additionally, there were several gods and high-level gods among them who were unaffected by the death gaze and intimidation of killing. Even a half-step eternal would be wiped out by an endless army, let alone this creature. Observing the massive number of spirits of misfortune, Su Yang thought of another ability that could yield numerous benefits. Perhaps I can use death gaze and kill intimidation on a large scale. This way, the chances of triggering the lethal effect will greatly increase. Su Yang's eyes lit up. The ability he had recently obtained was indeed formidable. He momentarily forgot about the lethal effect of this god-level passive skill. The lethal effect was calculated in percentages, not in thousandths or even millionths. Having long surpassed the platinum stage, Su Yang had slain a demigod-level dragon with just a glance. Now, facing the vast army of spirits of misfortune, he didn't even need to swing the heart-severing blade more than a few times. With a thought, Su Yang began using death gaze and kill intimidation. You have killed a spirit of misfortune. Obtained 100 divinity points. You have condensed 0.01% of the law of misfortune. The eternal furnace devoured the spirit of misfortune. You have obtained 0.01% of the eternal characteristic. You have obtained a killing effect. You have accumulated 60,000 layers of killing effect. The combination of the lethal effect, death gaze, and death threaten is truly outstanding. Perhaps I don't even need to personally fight in this battle. Su Yang smiled and summoned the illusionary divine butterflies to aid in the battle. He was the king of the illusionary divine butterfly clan. No matter where Su Yang was in the heaven realm, as long as he consumed a small amount of divinity points, the illusionary divine butterflies summoned by Su Yang would traverse the void and appear by his side. Su Yang had no concerns about the depletion of the illusionary divine butterflies. They possessed an incredibly potent regeneration ability, replenishing their numbers in a short period. Although the quantity of illusionary divine butterflies wasn't as great as that of the spirits of misfortune, there were still a considerable number of them. Countless illusionary divine butterflies were summoned by Su Yang from the void and thrown into the battlefield. Su Yang gains experience by killing the spirits of misfortune, and similarly, if the illusory divine butterflies kill the spirits of misfortune, he also gains experience. The experience gained by the illusory divine butterflies is substantial and does not hinder their leveling up. The illusionary divine butterfly clan has always resided atop the highest mountain peak. The reason they are undying gods is likely due to their protection by the supreme law. In the future, I'll take a back seat and let them enjoy some fresh air. Perhaps I'll have a powerful army of undying gods in the near future. Su Yang looked at the battlefield of the illusory divine butterflies, then wiped the bloodstains off the heart-severing blade with a cloth and put it away. Clearly, he no longer needed to personally take action in this battle. He only needed to stand by and release a hint of killing intent, and a large number of spirits of misfortune would perish. This kind of large-scale skill is most likely to trigger the lethal effect. Then the rest of the battle is left to the illusory divine butterflies. This is the first time a battle has been so effortless. It feels good to have subordinates. Su Yang looked around and couldn't help but sigh. Chapter 237, Chapter 237, Chapter 237, The Great Tao of Misfortune. The Resentment of the Goddess of Misfortune. Translator, Dragonboat Translation Editor, Dragonboat Translation. As for whether the illusionary divine butterflies would be affected by the law of misfortune, Su Yang had no worries at all. Having lived on the highest mountain for a long time, even if the illusionary divine butterflies were contaminated by the law of misfortune, returning to the highest mountain would dissipate the negative effects. You have obtained a killing effect. You have accumulated 100 buo layers of killing effect. After hundreds of thousands of years of evolution, the law of misfortune had gradually accumulated, and the number of spirits of misfortune in this place had reached a terrifying level. Su Yang effortlessly stacked 100,000 layers of killing effect. He didn't need to exert much effort and easily killed 100,000 spirits of misfortune. If it were any other expert, even a being at the ancestor level, they wouldn't be able to do it as easily as Su Yang. Even those powerhouses unaffected by the law of misfortune would still die from exhaustion. As the battle continued, not only did the spirit of misfortune fall, but many illusionary divine butterflies also perished. However, with Su Yang's ability to resurrect, the illusionary divine butterflies seemed to revive repeatedly without any energy consumption. Su Yang even felt that the battle was too slow, so he directly created the desolate domain. Within the domain, Su Yang was the master. He utilized the power of the desolate laws to launch a large-scale attack on the spirits of misfortune. Within the desolate territory, one could drain the vitality of all living beings. Combined with the effect of the law of silence, the speed at which the spirits of misfortune fell increased even further. Demons. This creature is truly a devil. We've undergone hundreds of thousands of years of accumulation and blurry visions to give birth to so many spirits of misfortune. In just a short while, so many have been killed. Moreover, this devil didn't even make a move. With just a few glances and a bit of killing intent, a large number of us died. The surrounding spirits of misfortune were in a panic. They felt extreme terror. Moreover, the number of spirits of misfortune was visibly decreasing. More than half of them had already perished. The remaining half of the spirits of misfortune fled. In their eyes, Su Yang was like a demon king reaping lives. Wherever his gaze and aura reached, the spirits of misfortune fell. Furthermore, they perished inexplicably without any signs. How could such an opponent not instill fear in people's hearts? You have killed a spirit of misfortune. Obtained 100 divinity points. You have condensed 0.01% of the law of misfortune. The eternal furnace devoured the spirit of misfortune. You have obtained 0.01% of the eternal characteristic. You have obtained a killing effect. You have accumulated 1,000,000 layers of killing effect. Level increased, current level, LV109. I've finally leveled up. Every 10 levels, I can have an extraordinary comprehension. I wonder what benefits this extraordinary comprehension will bring me. Su Yang's face revealed anticipation. He was about to reach level 110. Breaking through level 111 would allow him to experience the extraordinary comprehension. Moreover, reaching level 110 would make him a god. Each level increase marked a significant boost in his strength. Only with sufficient strength can one whisper schemes among the myriad worlds of the heaven realm, involving god-kings and half-step eternals. Furthermore, this comprehension would undoubtedly be extraordinary. Su Yang suspected it was closely related to the power of laws. When I reach level 120, I will directly advance to level 130. When Su Yang condensed the body of the 10 deities, heaven rewarded him with the opportunity to level up 10 times in a row. He hadn't used it yet. After all, the higher the level, the more experience is required to level up, so it's better to save this opportunity for later. Even at the lower god rank, leveling up is already so difficult. When one reaches the middle god rank, upper god rank, true god rank, or even god king rank, where will they obtain such a massive amount of experience? Do I have to wait tens of thousands of years to slowly improve like the other gods? Su Yang shook his head and stopped thinking about these matters. Now, in the myriad worlds of the heaven realm, there are many great realms that seek to take Su Yang's life. It just so happens that he can use these creatures as stepping stones, kill them all, and earn experience points for leveling up. As all the spirits of misfortune fled, Su Yang pursued them. With Su Yang's law of space, the spirits of misfortune had no means of escape. Under the effect of Su Yang's area of effect, or skill, the fatal effect was triggered. The illusionary divine butterflies caught up, and the number of spirits of misfortune quickly diminished. However, even if they died at the hands of the illusionary divine butterflies, it wouldn't affect Su Yang's accumulation of killing effect and plundering effect. Your law of misfortune has reached 100%. You have obtained a new ability, Master of Misfortune. You have obtained a new title, Misfortune Physique. Your understanding of the law of misfortune has reached an unimaginable level. You have touched the great Tao of misfortune by 0.01%. Under the effect of ultimate devouring, all the laws of the immortal gods that Su Yang killed would be devoured and inherited by him. Therefore, after killing so many spirits of misfortune, Su Yang's law of misfortune also reached perfection. When the law of misfortune's condensation reaches 100%, a multitude of laws of misfortune and information flooded Su Yang's mind, containing profound insights of the great Tao. For a moment, the aura of the law of misfortune emitted by Su Yang's body surpassed the power of the law of misfortune contained in the Land of Misfortune. Under this aura, any god-level creature in the heaven realm affected by Su Yang's law of misfortune would be plagued by bad luck. This power was feared even by undying gods. Unless they severed their own luck, they would be unable to resist the effect of the law of misfortune. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been any living beings who dared to step into the land of misfortune for hundreds of thousands of years. You have killed a large number of spirits of misfortune and brought destruction to the land of misfortune. You are suffering from the resentment left behind by the goddess of misfortune 550,000 years ago. You have triggered a special mission. Kill the resentment of the goddess of misfortune. The notification sound of the heaven realm rang out. Su Yang wielded the heart slash and consumed divinity points to maintain the current killing effect. Through the recent killing, Su Yang's killing effect had reached nearly 10 million levels. In other words, he had just killed nearly 10 million spirits of misfortune. Typically, the strength of the resentment depended on the power of the deceased and the intensity of the resentment. When alive, the goddess of misfortune was a powerful half-step eternal. Additionally, the divine kingdom of misfortune had been destroyed, so the resentment she generated after her death was undoubtedly substantial. Su Yang speculated that the resentment of the goddess of misfortune was at least on the level of a god-king, though it was highly unlikely to reach the level of a half-step eternal. Worship. A gust of wind swept across the barren land, exuding a sinister aura. Chapter 238, Chapter 238, Chapter 238, 10 million layers of slaughter, control a realm. Translator, Dragonboat Translation Editor, Dragonboat Translation. As a large number of spirits of misfortune were killed, the entire land of misfortune appeared in a gray state. Those who trespass on my divine misfortune and destroy my spirit of misfortune shall be killed. At this moment, all the laws of misfortune in the world gathered together to form a huge face. Her facial features were exquisite and extremely beautiful, not falling below the beauty of the goddess of luck at all. However, her face was filled with hatred, and the resentment twisted her features. The resentment of the goddess of misfortune. Su Yang exclaimed, and used his delusion-breaker eyes to inspect. Goddess of Misfortune's resentment. Level LV 180, God King. Divine Body, 35%. Laws, Misfortune, Darkness, Sound, Earth, Water. Hint, killing the resentment of the Goddess of Misfortune will bring unexpected rewards. Introduction. Formed from the resentment of the Goddess of Misfortune, inheriting half of her godly power from when she was alive. The resentment has persisted for hundreds of thousands of years and will not dissipate. She is powerful, but cannot leave the land of misfortune. Looking at the resentment data panel of the Goddess of Misfortune, this was undoubtedly the combat power of an ancestor. The Goddess of Misfortune had mastered 5 laws and condensed a divine body. At her peak, she was probably a powerhouse at the half-step eternal stage. It was a pity that she had incurred the wrath of a peerless, ruthless individual, which was why she now faced imminent disaster. Perhaps the Goddess of Luck doesn't want to get too involved with me because of the fate of the Goddess of Misfortune, Su Yang muttered to himself. He recalled that the Goddess of Luck had repeatedly refused his assistance. In the blink of an eye, the resentment of the Goddess of Misfortune launched a swift attack. A majestic law of misfortune, accompanied by other laws such as darkness, attacked Su Yang with tremendous power. Su Yang utilized a spatial jump and instantly left the area. His battle prowess was only comparable to that of a ruler. There was still a significant gap between him and an ancestor. However, the nearly 10 million layers of killing effect he had accumulated filled him with information. Sword drawer, Su Yang bellowed in a low voice. He directly burned his divinity points and stacked 100,000 layers of sword draw. With a swing of his saber, the world lost its color. An immensely vast saber light swept across the entire world, as if it wanted to cleave the land of misfortune in two. Nearly 10 million layers of killing effect, coupled with 100,000 layers of sword draw, inundated Su Yang with power. It was as if he could even split a half-step eternal in two. An incredibly dense aura of destruction permeated the massive saber light. The destructive aura in the world surpassed even the aura of misfortune. In the land of misfortune, it seemed to have sensed the aura of the saber light and was constantly trembling. If there were an immortal god present, they would undoubtedly realize that the aura emitted by this blade was exactly the same as the aura that sealed the land of misfortune. Following an invisible trail of nomological energy, one could see that this saber still emitted boundless power even after hundreds of thousands of years. This was the reason why the sealing power that locked the land of misfortune had not dissipated for such a long time. Damn it, both you and him use saber. You haven't even comprehended the lore of the blade. Go to hell. Physical attacks are useless against me. Seeing Su Yang's astonishing saber light, the resentment of the goddess of misfortune did not evade, and her face revealed a mad expression. As an obsession, she neither possessed a spiritual body nor a physical body. Therefore, physical attacks could not harm her. However, the ruthless individual who killed her back then used a saber, becoming a god through the saber, condensing a divine body through the path of the saber, reaching the pinnacle. By utilizing the saber nurturing technique, he could store his saber energy for thousands of years and use his deceased body to strike at a half-step eternal. She died unwillingly and in humiliation, which led to her developing this strong resentment. A mighty half-step eternal who had mastered 5 laws had actually been slain by a god king who had only formed 1 law. Moreover, this ruthless person not only killed her, but also destroyed her entire existence. She, the misfortune goddess, was the first and the last, so her resentment could not be forgotten for a long time. Seeing that Su Yang was also using a saber hundreds of thousands of years later, the atmosphere became even more intense. Because it was the man with the saber who killed her. Your actions have triggered the wrath of the goddess of misfortune, and she is about to go berserk. Goddess of misfortune enraged, extreme resentment, goddess of misfortune. In the berserk state, the goddess of misfortune is level 190, with 40% of her godly power remaining. There is no turning back. Die. Life is but a lie. From the moment you start breathing, you are already slowly dying. The aura of the law of misfortune was incredibly dense. The enormous face of the goddess of misfortune appeared in all directions, surrounding Su Yang. Are physical attacks ineffective? Su Yang remained expressionless. He had encountered several beings before that were impervious to physical attacks. However, in front of him, they were simply unable to withstand a single blow. Welcome to your death. Void slash. A beam of light shot into the sky. The pale face of the goddess of misfortune turned even paler. There was no doubt that she felt threatened by this saber. The waves of energy made her heart palpitate. At this moment, she seemed like a flickering glimmer in the wind, on the verge of being extinguished at any time. If it were the previous Su Yang, even with nearly 10 million layers of killing effect, he would not be able to contend with such a powerful god-king. That was because, apart from the immense strength of the god-king realm, they possessed a defense that made beings below the god-king realm feel hopeless. But now, Su Yang's condensation of the law of destruction had reached 100%, becoming the great Tao of destruction. Under the effect of extreme destruction, any defense was rendered useless against Su Yang. Amidst the horrified screams, the Goddess of Misfortune met her instant. This power is truly formidable. When will I truly possess this power? Feeling his current strength, Su Yang couldn't help but sigh emotionally. He even felt a tinge of nostalgia. The first time he accumulated nearly 10 million layers of killing effect was unprecedented. This level of killing effect couldn't even be achieved by depleting all his divinity points. Therefore, after these 3 hours, once the effect of the eternal law expired, it would be impossible to stack the killing effect to 10 million layers without a specific environment like this. You have successfully slain the Goddess of Misfortune. You have completed the special mission to kill the Goddess of Misfortune. Releasing rewards. You have become the new ruler of the Land of Misfortune. You have obtained the following privileges. Privilege 1. You will have control over the entire Land of Misfortune, and the Spirits of Misfortune here will be at your disposal. Privilege 2. In the Land of Misfortune, if you encounter danger, you can summon the Spirits of Misfortune to fight alongside you. The Spirits of Misfortune cannot leave the Land of Misfortune, triggering the release of the seal of the Land of Misfortune. Introduction. You are the true controller of this realm. Chapter 239, Chapter 239, Chapter 239, Creating a World, Salvation from Misfortune. Translator, Dragonboat Translation Editor, Dragonboat Translation. Master of the Land of Misfortune. 100% control. Effect 1. You can design the core survival of the world. You have complete control over the world. Effect 2. When you have control authority in a world, you will receive a complete enhancement from the world's original order. You will have complete control over the world's original authority. Your overall strength will increase by 100 times. You will be immune to all attacks from ordinary objects. You will be immune to all attacks that cause death, karma, fate, etc. You can adjust the rules of the world according to your imagination. This world is your domain. Introduction. You are the original consciousness of the world of misfortune. You can bestow special rights upon any creature. A realm master. Su Yang could feel that his control over the Land of Misfortune had reached 100%. As long as he wanted to, he could change the rules of abilities here at will. This realm was a world that truly belonged to him. The original consciousness of the Blue Planet world also granted Su Yang 10% control. However, the difference was that the Blue Planet did not belong to Su Yang, whereas this world of misfortune was the world that truly belonged to him. He could create mountains, rivers, living beings, and everything else here. He also had absolute control over the laws here. Rumble. Su Yang's thoughts shifted, causing the surrounding mountains and rivers to tremble. He ensured that the environment here was sufficient, instantly erasing any traces of holes in the ground. That area will be the flame world. I want all the divine flames listed on the divine flames ranking in the heavenly realm to be here. Su Yang waved his hand, and the mountains and rivers moved. One place transformed into a scorching flame domain. He could easily create all the divine flames with the great Tao of fire. I want this piece of sky with thunder and rain. Su Yang began using his law of intelligence to coordinate with the laws of the world of misfortune in order to replan this world. In this moment, he was the god of creation in this world. That is the territory of the robot empire. Following Su Yang's pointing finger, A massive mechanical hand rose into the air and flew in that direction. An abundance of metal materialized out of thin air, and the robotic arms swiftly created robots according to Su Yang's wishes. These robots were equipped with powerful gear, but they lacked life. Mechanical creation. Su Yang used his ability, mechanical creation, to give life to all the robots. Some were gold, some were silver, some were platinum, and some were even diamond. As long as it was a mechanical life lower than Su Yang's level, he could create. "Father, it's pitch black here. What do you think we should do?" The mechanical lives came to life one by one, all kneeling down towards Su Yang. This world was filled with a gray hue. It did not seem like endless darkness, nor was there any light. "Let there be light," Su Yang said softly. Then he stretched out his hand, and a blazing light soared into the sky. This ray of light ascended directly above the world of misfortune, forming a scorching sun. God said, "Let there be light," so there is light in this world. Many mechanical lives cheered. In their eyes, Su Yang was the supreme god. "There must be plants here too." Su Yang waved his hand again. The entire world of misfortune was covered with lush, towering trees and various flowers. "Where is the temple?" Su Yang designated another area for the remaining spirits of misfortune to reside and thrive. After completing everything, Su Yang nodded in satisfaction. The once lifeless world now brimmed with vitality under Su Yang's control. Normally, Su Yang wouldn't be able to transform such a vast world, using all of his divinity points. However, as the controller of this world, he utilized the origin power of this world, which didn't drain much of Su Yang's own energy. After accumulating for hundreds of thousands of years, the origin energy of this world was ridiculously potent, so it remained unaffected. The coordinates of this world seemed to be closer to the Goddess of Luck. The Goddess of Luck gave me the scroll of the power of misfortune. Could it be that she intended to create an opportunity for me to look back? Yes, I have to make good use of it. Su Yang's eyes gradually lit up. He felt that his intuition was correct. Is the seal in the sky still there? Now that this realm is under my control, I have the obligation to break that seal. Su Yang closed his eyes and sensed the source of the seal's power. The entire vast world was under his control. Not a blade of grass or tree here could hide from him. He had to break this seal, or else all the beings in the world of misfortune would be unable to leave. Similar to the defensive line he had built in the wizarding world. The only difference was that the wizarding world would actively attack the defensive line, regardless of casualties. The seal here only acted as a barrier, preventing them from departing. With a thought, Su Yang quickly located the source of the sealing power. Now that I've found it, there's no rush. Let's explore the new ability I just acquired. Su Yang opened his delusion breaker eye and inspected the new ability he had obtained. Misfortune Redemption. Requirements: you must comprehend the law of misfortune to obtain it. Effect 1. Powerful law of misfortune, capable of nullifying everything related to luck. Effect 2. Any living creature that comes into contact with you will be tainted by misfortune, whether in battle or through brief contact. If the person you engage in combat with dies from the poison, regardless of your own power, you will be affected by misfortune and perish. Effect 3. Everything you employ will become an item of misfortune. Due to the formidable power of misfortune, all misfortune will stay far away from you. You are an entity redeemed by misfortune. Effect 4. As long as the opponent has not transcended, you can directly perceive their misfortune value and can also directly alter the course of their misfortune. However, you will face the punishment of the supreme fate. Hint: all negative luck effects do not affect you. Introduction: comprehending the law of misfortune is a form of bad luck for you because from now on, you will remain distant. Anyone who comes into contact with you will inevitably be plagued by misfortune. You are lonely. It seems that the Goddess of Misfortune from decades ago was a loner. Su Yang looked at the introduction of misfortune redemption and couldn't help but shake his head. The law of misfortune was powerful, but it also made it the easiest to become isolated. Apart from not affecting himself, it would impact anyone around him. Such was the power of misfortune. However, Su Yang wasn't concerned about this effect at all, because he still possessed the law of luck. Chapter 240, Chapter 240, Chapter 240, Master of Fate, represents the supreme fate. Translator, Dragon Boat Translation Editor, Dragon Boat Translation. The power of the law of luck and the law of misfortune was equal. By utilizing the law of luck, one could counterbalance the effects of the law of misfortune. Hence, Su Yang had no need to worry at all. The reason that persons severed their own luck is likely due to the influence of the law of misfortune. Because they are affected by the law of misfortune, they will bring disadvantages upon themselves in battle. Su Yang mumbled to himself, speculating about the battle that took place hundreds of thousands of years ago. There was no doubt that the law of misfortune was immensely powerful and could manipulate any living being in the celestial realms. Unlike the goddess of luck, the deterrence of the law of luck was not as formidable as the law of misfortune. The law of luck could only bring fortune to living beings, while the law of misfortune could bring disaster upon them. I have gained control over the three laws of luck, misfortune, and foresight. I wonder what surprises the Master of Fate will bestow upon me. Su Yang's eyes brimmed with excitement. He had long yearned to understand this ability. It was only by grasping these three laws that the true power of fate could be unleashed. He could even rely on this fate to break free from the control of the Supreme. Fate of the Heaven Realm. Master of Fate acquired the laws of luck, foresight, and misfortune simultaneously. Effect 1. You are the Master of Fate. You possess complete control over your own destiny and can influence the trajectory of fate within your own strength. Effect 2. You wield the supreme power of fate. The threads of fate upon you can break free at any moment, albeit subjecting you to heavenly tribulation. Effect 3. You can manipulate the fate of any creature weaker than you. To them, you are a god, capable of controlling everything. Effect 4. You can manipulate luck and misfortune at will. To you, whether bestowing luck or misfortune, it is within your discretion. Hint: as the controller of the fate of beings weaker than you need not fear punishment from the supreme fate or retribution from the heavens, as you represent the supreme fate. Introduction: you are the rightful master of fate. After reading the introduction of the Master of Fate, Su Yang's excitement grew even stronger. The power of this seal originates from a saber. How unexpected! Su Yang closed his eyes and pondered for a moment. With the influence of the Master of Fate, he no longer needed the law of foresight to see into the future. By simply closing his eyes, he could effortlessly perceive future events. If he found something unsatisfactory or not going his way, Su Yang could alter the circumstances. As long as the opponent's strength was inferior to Su Yang's, he could change his own fate without paying any price. No price needed to be paid at all. However, if the opponent's strength surpassed Su Yang's, he could still alter their fate by enduring heavenly punishment. It could be said that the ability of the Master of Fate merged the powers of the three laws. Furthermore, it was an upgraded version of these three laws. Previously, Su Yang had a chance to influence the trajectory of fate, but he had to bear the wrath of the heavens. Now Su Yang could 100% influence the trajectory of fate. As long as his strength was not surpassed, he didn't even need to bear heavenly punishment. The most remarkable aspect was that he embodied the will directly representing the supreme fate, altering the destinies of other living beings. In other words, no other existence could change this arrangement of fate. Perhaps I can give it a try. Su Yang closed his eyes and located Spirit's thread of fate. A potent aura of fate immediately enveloped Spirit. Meanwhile, on the blue planet, the spirit of the dragon country blinked her beautiful, large eyes. Strange, why do I suddenly feel like I have encountered a level of power? You're too trustworthy. I didn't do anything. After Su Yang departed, she laid down on the sofa to rest. Ever since becoming Su Yang's maid, she had lived a leisurely life. Apart from occasionally accompanying Su Yang to high-level dungeons, she spent most of her time in the villa. It was precisely due to this that Spirit found it unbelievable. At the same time, she opened her attribute panel. Why did my luck value suddenly increase by 5 points? Spirit was utterly perplexed and had no idea what was happening. In the abyss world, amidst the boundless darkness, a pitch-black divine throne stood. Last time I used a half-step eternal item to plot against the heavenly sun, but it backfired on me. How peculiar. Now that I have finally recovered from my injuries, I wonder what transpired in the outside world during this period. Based on the announcement from the Heaven Realm, the Heavenly Sun's progress seems to be advancing at an astonishing pace. No, I must eliminate him quickly. Otherwise, anyone who schemes against him will face punishment. The Lord of the Netherworld sat upon the divine throne, muttering to himself. The supreme power he experienced last time had caused a severe backlash. As a result, it was only now that he had fully recuperated from his injuries. After Su Yang gained control over the power of fate, he followed the trajectory of fate and found the Lord of the Netherworld, even though he was unaware that he had been deceived before. However, now he could effortlessly control his own fate and easily observe the Lord of the Netherworld's plot against him. Yet he was curious about the origin of the supreme power that aided him. Even the supreme power that helped him conceal the trajectory of fate from the eternal dragon remained unknown to Su Yang. In the face of this force, the power of fate was akin to that of a blind man, unable to perceive it. Nonetheless, since this force harbored no ill intentions towards Su Yang, there was no need to be concerned. The truth would be revealed one day. Soon, he activated the power of fate and altered the fate of the Netherworld Lord. Buff! The Netherworld Lord coughed up a mouthful of blood. Clutching his chest, he realized that his injuries had not healed but had worsened instead. This doesn't make sense. I have already recovered from my injuries. This should not be happening. How could I, a formidable half-step transcendent, make a mistake in judging my own injuries? The Netherworld Lord's expression contorted with unwillingness and confusion. Wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, he closed his eyes and carefully sensed his surroundings. Soon he detected a supreme power. In the face of this power, he could not summon any thoughts of resistance. It's the supreme fate. The Netherworld Lord shrank back, a trace of reverence crossing his face. How peculiar. Why did the supreme fate take the initiative to attack? The Lord of the Netherworld found it unimaginable. Having lived for hundreds of thousands of years, he had never heard of the supreme fate actively meddling with the beings of the heaven realm. This was completely unnecessary. That's a wrap for this installment. Thank you all for watching and supporting Lord of the Stories. If you enjoyed this tale, please hit the like button, share it, and subscribe for more amazing stories. You can also explore other series updated daily in our playlists. Have a fantastic day and see you in the next episode.